Welcome dreamers, happy Friday. Many thanks to those that made it to the Friday building session today. The video for that build will be out tomorrow. But for today's video, we're gonna be going over a build I made out in the tundra. Before we get into that though, a usual reminder that DreamWorld is in early access, so if you go down to the description of this video, there will be a link to the DreamWorld website where we have our free trial, which is available for you to try the game out. And if you like what you play in the trial, you feel free to purchase the game in early access. Again, that link will be in the description. So for today's video, our build will be in the tundra. It will be a North Pole Lodge. This will be a nice little cozy North Pole build, which won't exactly be like Santa's workshop. It'll kind of be like a little resort at the North Pole to get away for Christmas time. So without further ado, let's get right to building this lodge in DreamWorld. Start off the build, I had to find the perfect place to actually build. And I found this area that I barely had to till out in the tundra, so I decided to build here. We used polished conifer wood for the foundations, since we had plenty of that and not that much regular conifer wood, and plus the shiny floors look better anyways. And the lodge wasn't going to be too big either, so we had enough space and we had plenty of resources to get creative with this build. Speaking of getting creative, I made sure to make plenty of different cylindrical rooms around the build. I know the foundations here that you're seeing, I played with this front section a little bit to try to make a cylindrical room that was a little bit more unique looking. It would kind of act as like a foyer slash like meeting area slash living room, and the plan was to also make this so you could look out into the tundra through windows and everything. It took a little finagling with the foundation pieces, but eventually I was able to get this room to look, pretty good and get it pretty symmetrical. Going back to the main center part, I also made a little stairwell area, and then also put some extra foundation pieces on for a front porch. And then I went to the back of the build, and I put another cylindrical room back there, but I had to actually till out more of the ground because the pieces I was placing were getting engulfed by the snow. It took some real quick tilling, and I was able to, get all the snow out of the way and continue this cylindrical room in the back of the build. Now that the snow was tilled out of the way, I went and finished the cylindrical room at the back of the base. And just like that, we have our foundations down for the North Pole Lodge, a nice shiny conifer wood foundation. We can now put the walls on the build, and I chose oak wood for the walls. I wanted to get a different color palette. I chose 3 colors here for the build. I chose oak, pine, and conifer. I made sure to mix and match windows with wall pieces here, put a couple windows here and there. However, I didn't use too many, as it was winter time. I didn't want too much cold getting in. And I also, for the pillars on the porch, I used pine wood. The trim and pillars for this base was gonna be pine wood. I also fenced in the front porch to make it a little bit more decorative, and made sure to build pillars up to the second story where there would be a balcony. And once I was done with that, I went to walling in the rest of the build. Again, I used a couple windows here and there, but not too many, mainly in this front living foyer area. With the walls all done, I started construction on the second floor. You know, I built a little spiral staircase over here, and then I got right to making polished conifer for the second story flooring. I wanted to make more of a loft though, as opposed to like a full second floor, so I didn't cover the entirety of, you know, the roofing for the first floor with ceiling pieces. You'll see here that I keep this ceiling for the first floor a little bit more open. However, for the rest of the build, I designed the ceiling to be more closed off, as, you know, I didn't really need a more open area for that. Only the main lodge area would really have a big open hall. With the flooring all done, I got right to making the roofs. This was a little tricky, as the base design was more creative and experimental, but I had all the pieces I needed to make everything, you know, completely enclosed. For the front foyer area, I used a bunch of cylindrical roofing pieces. I had to combine a couple different ones, but I managed to make everything work, and I even put some cylindrical roofing pieces on the stairway, but I'd have to edit that later, because I wanted to actually build up the roof to be a little bit higher to allow for more room in the loft area. I walled off the stairwell for now to allow me to build on my roofing pieces, and I got the exact height I wanted, but would have to go delete those later. Again, we're using oak wood for the roof here. I made sure to wall off the gap in the roof in the front with a window and then some triangular, you know, wall pieces. Then I put some cylindrical roofing pieces on the back side of the build because regular roof pieces wouldn't work there. I then went back to the foyer area and finished the roof over there. I had to do a trick with walls and triangular roofing pieces to seal up the hole in the roof though. For the finishing touches on the build, I put pine wood doors and all the door frames, and then I also put some pine wood fencing around the base, you know, to finish up the trim and everything. And to finish up the stairway, I removed the roofing pieces and built up another level of walls. This would give me more room to kind of seal up, you know, the roofing without having to block off access to the stairwell. I put cylindrical roofs on the outside part of the stairwell, and then I used fence pieces and also triangular wall pieces to actually wall in the other side of this roof. I then made sure to go and build the balcony. I made an extra ceiling piece to connect the floor to the balcony area and then put a door frame there to give access to the balcony. Again, that door would be a pine wood door. For the balcony itself, I did polished conifer floors and then did pine wood fencing as the trim. Lastly, I fixed the spiral staircase over here to have it perfectly connect with the second floor. And to finish off the loft, I put a bed up here, just a regular default skin bed. Now to do some interior decorating with this build, I decided to make a fireplace. You know, I used some square building piece assets, and I had some leftover red brick from a previous build, so I decided to use that for the actual look of the fireplace. I chose the square shaped assets because they were gonna give me the actual look that I wanted to go with the fireplace. As far as how it was exactly gonna look, I wanted to be able to put some Christmas stockings on the fireplace, but, you know, as I built it, I edited the shape as I went along. You know, I just kind of got experimental, you know, altered the look as I went. And just to be clear, I used shrunken cube assets. These are -3 size, which actually worked out great because I didn't have that much red brick, so I used less resources to make my fireplace. And lastly, we use stocking assets to put on the fireplace because, you know, usual Christmas tradition, you hang stockings from the fireplace, and we put a little pine wood chair to finish up. And lastly, for interior decorating, I put some gingerbread men on the back wall, just to give more festive decor to the lodge. And then for lighting, I used oak wood torches on the loft, foyer area, and porch of the build to make sure that all areas of the lodge were equally lit. And that is our North Pole Lodge build. This is out in the tundra right now, ready for Christmas vacationers to go right inside to stay. Hope you enjoyed this build, and thank you again to everyone who actually participated in the Friday building event. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see videos just like this one. And again, there's a link in the description to DreamWorld's website if you want to check the game out for yourself. But have an amazing Friday, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, dreamers.